Hi everyone, this is Niki Rowland and today I have a layout for Hip Kit Club. I'm using the February 2021 kits, which are full of gorgeousness. Very soon, hopefully, we'll have the March and April kits as well. And today I am being inspired by the Moodboard. Now, this Moodboard is pink and black, and my layout is blue. But that's okay because you don't have to just be inspired by the colours on a mood board. You can take various elements, and that's what I've done. The mood board itself is a pink, black, and kind of a bit of a creamy colour as well. It's very monochromatic. So I'm making a monochromatic layout today, but I'm just using a different colour. So I'm going for blue because I wanted to do a boy layout. So I have cut the all boy cut file from blue paper. It's dark blue and it has darker blue stars on it. It's quite subtle. It's by Echo Park Little Dreamer, I think, that was in the February kit. So I've cut that with my silhouette just in the blue, and now I'm now just backing that with one of the white pattern papers from this kit as well. So this is a sheet of paper that's white with a kind of like a diagonal stripe on one side, and on the other side it's a black and white floral. So that was ideal for backing my cut file. It gives me some texture on the letters without being an overbearing pattern. So what I'm doing is I just literally cut around that. I used pencil and scissors and hand drew around it, and then I've cut it out. And now I am adding my cut file back on top of that backed piece. And I'm actually going to use foam pads to raise this up because I like the look of a three-dimensional title. It's not always possible to do this because sometimes the cut files are just too skinny. But this one, because I've cut it quite big and it has some very wide areas, that was no problem. So I have popped it up on foam pads, and I'm just about to stick that onto that backing piece. So I also have the middle pieces from the cut file as well. So like the A, for example, has the middle triangle. So that needs to go on as well, but I haven't dealt with those just yet. So just now ready to stick that on, and that looks really, really good. I'm so happy with how that looks. I just need to trim around it slightly. Whenever you do anything like this by hand, it's never as accurate as it would be if you did it on the machine. I could easily have done it on the machine, but I just wasn't organised enough at the time of cutting the main cut file to know what I was going to back it with. So when I sat down at my desk to scrapbook, I was like, oh, this piece is perfect. But by that point, my machine was off and my computer was off, and I just wanted to sit down and craft. So, okay, so on the mood board, there are letters, like postal letters with handwriting on them. And some of the edges on the paper are torn. So I decided to go for torn paper on this layout to represent that part of the mood board. So I've taken the blue ledger paper from the kit, which I believe is an exclusive, and I have torn the bottom piece off in a diagonal design, and I've torn another layer off as well, so I've layered that underneath the first one. So I've got two layers of torn paper from the top of the layout to the bottom of the layout. Can you see that I'm now sticking the middle pieces back inside the title, and I'm using the letters themselves as a template to make sure that I get those pieces in the right place. So I kept once I have a cut file like this, I keep all the pieces until the cut file is assembled and stuck on a layout, and then I'll get rid of all the other bits. But you can see there that I had to use the O as a template to work out exactly where the other piece should go, because if it was around the wrong way, it just wouldn't look right. You wouldn't get that kind of dimensional feel. So that's what I do there. Okay, so back to my torn paper. So going back to the mood board for a moment, on the top left image, it says good vibes only. And it's kind of got like a watercolory effect background, again in pink. But I chose the blue background paper for that reason, that it has, even though it's like a ledger print, it has areas of like watercolor staining on the paper. So that reminded me of that image on the mood board, even though it is a different color. So I'm just getting that stuck in place, and I've raised the bottom edge up on foam pads, and I've just stuck the top edge flat, and then got those stuck down. So the torn edges at the bottom are raised up on foam pads, and it just gives a nice bit of dimension. So now I can just start arranging my cut file and my photos. So I've got 2 photos of my my boy, my middle child, who is just about to turn 8, and he is Lego obsessed, like seriously Lego obsessed. And for school, he had to do a blog post about his favourite thing, and obviously his favourite thing is Lego. So he went up to his room, because he had to include photos. He went up to his room and he took selfies of him with his Lego in the background, but his selfie skills are a little to be desired, because he's managed to cut off half of his face on one, and the other one he's only got a small, really tiny amount of his face in. So I think they're quite funny photos. You can see that he shares his room with my albums. Can you see that whole big thing in the background that has all of my albums? That big unit in the background that has all my albums in. Yeah, I mean, he has the biggest room in the house, so you know he has to make sacrifices. So anyway, I liked these photos because, as I say, they were funny because he took them and he didn't do a particularly good job. He's got a lot of other things in the photo, not that much of his Lego or himself. So I just thought they were quite amusing. Also, they reminded me of the images on the mood board. You have 2 images of people. So one is the bottom left, where the lady has part of her face covered by butterflies, and one is the top middle, which is you have these half faces. They're kind of like drawings rather than realistic, and they're only half faces. So both of those pictures on the mood board have part faces covered. So I thought these photos worked well with that. Okay, so under my cut file, I have added some black stitching. I just wanted to have a little bit of texture under the cut file. So I used my sewing machine, and I just stitched several lines of straight stitch in black thread, and I did that to go under the cut file. So then I've just layered my cut file on top. I've also added a lot of the clear stickers, so this will give me a mixed media look without actually having to do any mixed media. They're quite cool. I quite like these stickers, even though I do mixed media layouts as well. It's a lot less messy and less time consuming as well, because you don't have to dry the layers, dry the paint. So that's quite cool. So I've just stuck a few of those stickers underneath the cut file, underneath the photos, and I'm really liking how they're looking, actually. So on the mood board, there is an image with triangles, and they're double triangles, and they're overlapping each other, and they're on a black background. So I have just cut some triangles even from the offcut of the background paper that I've used. So that big blue area, the back of it is a very dark blue print with kind of stitched hearts on. So I've just cut up, I cut a big square actually, and then I cut it in half diagonally twice, so that I ended up with little triangles. Oh, they're still quite big actually. And I'm just going to layer those on top of each other and attach those to the layout. And then I have used that image from the mood board as well. Here are those triangles ready to go onto the layout. I actually added some stitching around the edges of those, again with black thread on my sewing machine. So, and I'm going to raise those up on foam pads. Although the way that I want to overlap them, I really didn't need a foam pad on the point of the triangle. So I had to end up removing those ones, even though I'd already added them. So the layers were just not quite right. Okay, so just adding in some arrow stickers and bits and pieces from the rest of the kit. I've pulled out the Pink Fresh Studio Some Days stickers, and I'm using some of those to add some details up on the top left. So I wanted to cover up some of the photo because part of the photo has a load of stuff in the background that's got nothing to do with what he was trying to achieve, like my albums. So I thought that would be a good area of the photo to cover up with embellishments, because I don't have a lot of room on this layout really to put other embellishments. So I thought that would be a good place around the photo to do that. So I picked up on a few circular elements. I really love that there's a rainbow style, it's like a half circle crescent style sticker on that sheet, and it says "Wake up and be awesome." So that's really cool. I really liked that, so I put that on there. I've just added some other little labels to the triangles. I've added one that says essential, one that says what, and then over on the right hand side I've added another kind of like arrow label sticker. I've got the word awesome, which is a exclusive die cut title, which one of the exclusives this month. So I pulled that out and I've stuck that over the top of the cut file. I've also added a couple of doodled flowers. They were on the clear sticker sheet, and because there are lots of flowers on the mood board, I wanted to include some flowers, even though I did not want this layout to be a floral layout. It was definitely okay to have some doodled flowers in there. So they're kind of like quarter flowers, and I've just popped those either side of my cut file, so one over on the right and one over on the left hand side. So adding in some hearts, still going with the whole monochromatic feel of this layout, so the blue tones mostly, and I've added in those clear sticker hearts that are exclusive, and now adding in some enamel dots. I also had two little black hearts. They were from the exclusive ephemera too. Enamel dots in place as well. So now just coming in with a little bit of extra mixed media for this background, and I'm using the Tickle Me Turquoise shimmers that came in the February colour kit. And I'm just adding some splatters top left and down at the bottom there with a paintbrush. I had to water it down slightly. It was a bit too thick to splatter, so I had to water it down slightly. I've just added those splatters in those two areas, and now just coming in with some big blobs of black Indian ink. That always adds a lot of drama to a page. I always like how that looks. Because I'm dropping it onto pattern paper, it will wick into the paper very quickly. So I'm just using a tissue to wick up some of the excess ink so that it doesn't bleed into the paper. And I've done my journaling over on the right hand side. And that is me done. So I hope you can see how I have been inspired by the mood board, even though it looks nothing like the mood board. There's lots of different ways of taking inspiration, so I hope that I've helped with that today. Okay, so don't forget that if you are a Hip Kit Club subscriber, you get the main kit at a reduced price, 15% discount off all add-on kits, and you get access to exclusive subscriber cut files like the one I used today. So thank you so much for joining me today. That was Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club.